Galimera, Galimera, Galimera. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And Calomina, Calomina, Calomina. That means happy first day of the month. I cannot believe that today it is the 1st of April, April Fool's Day. And we are now inching ourselves closer to the summer. I thought I'd change the location of today's broadcast from the balcony on the rear of the house. We're just looking towards the direction in that direction, looking towards, if I point my finger, can you see my finger? There's my finger, down looking towards Amber Lockerbie and also Kerry. Today is absolutely glorious. It's a beautiful day today. No cloud in the sky, just a slight haze, but other than that, nothing serious. So there you go. That's the look of the real estate from up here. The chickens are all out running about, making noise down there. They're all around the other side of the house. That's one of the reasons we're coming around this side where it's a little bit quieter. Anyway, nice to see Shane Bowen is tuning in today. I missed you yesterday, buddy, during my live broadcast. I was a bit worried when I hadn't heard about you. But Shane had some problems yesterday with brakes on his JCB and water tanks breaking, ceilings falling in. It all happened for you yesterday, mate. So I'm pleased that you're here this morning. Also, Heather Nash. Been hearing about your little trials and tribulations as well, so I'm glad you're tuning in. So anyway, what's been going on in the last 24 hours? Well, let's have a look. Oh, Paddy Brolly's also there as well. Nice to see you, mate, as well. Ex-RAF Reg buddy tuning in. Gav Kitchen, another RAF Reg buddy tuning in. I'll give you guys a wave back as well. And then I'm going to switch the screens around and I'll give you the news. Right, there I am, sat on my balcony. Right, let's have a look. There's been a lot going on actually in the last 24 hours. I've also got the weather forecast as well. I'll come to that a bit later on. As I said, it's the 1st of April, Calomina, as we say in Greece, for the first of the month. And how has things been going on in the last 24 hours? Well, in the last 24 hours, things are not going well. Things nationally are slightly improving. Nationally, we had 3,616 new infections, which was down on yesterday, where we had 4,340, which I think was an all-time high as well for Greece in one day. That brings the grand total at the moment across the country since the pandemic started to 263,689 cases of the pandemic, as I said, since the pandemic first started. Anyway, at the moment, there were 20 new cases which were identified after checks into the country. That's actually down on the day before, where I didn't have the number, where we'd actually had 21 new cases at the borders coming in. Anyway, now according to the national stats, this is where it gets very interesting for us. According to the national stats, Lefkada yesterday had no new cases. Kefalonia had 7 new cases. Corfu had 20 new cases. And Zakynthos, according to the national stats, we had 17 new cases. Anyway, as always, I like to look at what is locally reported. And to be honest, locally reported, we actually had 20 new cases. That's 20 people testing positive here on the island. And this has been the biggest infection rise on Zakynthos since the whole thing started. So yesterday we had 20 cases. No real clear indication as to who, where or what, but this is the number being reported locally. Obviously, don't forget the hospital does testing. Also, we have private clinics doing testing, and we also have the health authority, the mobile health unit, doing testing. And once all their figures had been collated, the figure we got yesterday, or this morning, should I say, was 20 new cases on the island and not 17 as has been reported nationally. So again, we shall keep an eye on that. The hospital says that the workload at the hospital and the laboratories and with the mobile health is great, and everybody's anxiety, this is their wording, not mine, that they don't have any serious incidents. So again, at the moment, no news as to anybody being affected, how they've been affected. At the moment, the last word we had was that there were 5 people in the COVID clinic. and that number had actually dropped from 7. So no wording as to if anybody has been admitted to the COVID clinic. Main thing is, I think with most of these people, it's mild symptoms, and they've been getting contact from within their own family groups as opposed to people in the streets. So anyway, we're going to keep an eye on that. Just to remind for those people, Zakynthos is still an area of concern. All right, along with about 8 other regions as well across the country. So that's the reason why we are in deep red. And the last case of our statistics per 100,000, we were registered at 56.43 cases per 100,000, which is very high. And it puts us on par with Athens, believe it or not, as well. So anyway, we'll keep an eye on that. And the final stat for the month then is as follows. For the month of March, there's been 184 new cases on Zakynthos this month alone. We had 70 cases in February. We had about 30 cases in January. So the grand total since the beginning of the year is that we've had 284 284 confirmed cases here on the island since the beginning of the year. Right. As for deaths at the moment, unfortunately, deaths across the country, they're also up at the moment from 72 last reported to 76. The average age of those people passing away, 79 years of age. 96% of those people had underlying health problems or were over the age of 70. And once again, our condolences to those people's families that are affected by their passing. Also as well, just to put that in context, the average daily death rate in Greece in 2019, prior to the advent of COVID, was about 329 deaths a day across the country. And also just to remind you that on Zakynthos this year, so far, we've had 3 deaths from COVID. First was in February, that was a 70-year-old woman, and 2 other cases in March, a 74-year-old and also an 80-year-old woman as well. So again, let's hope the death rate for COVID does not increase for us during the month of April. Now, when it comes to critical cases, there's been a slight easing of critical cases across the country. I did report to you yesterday there was an all-time high of 741 people who have been incubated across the country. At the moment, that number has dropped slightly to 739 critical cases in hospitals across Greece, which 471 are male and 268 are female. Critical patients normally around about the average age of 68, and 86% of those have underlying health conditions or are over the age of 70. And Zakynthos, as I said, at the moment, 5 people are in the COVID clinic here in Zakynthos, which is down from 7. And as far as I'm aware, nobody is being incubated in the COVID clinic at the moment. Anyway, believe it or not, despite everything that's been going on, and this is not an April Fool, all right, as again, looking at some of the stories, you've got to wonder, somebody trying to have a little of a funny one, but I think with things with COVID, this is not an April Fool. The Greek government has announced that retail outlets in Greece, excluding department stores and shopping centres, they will be allowed to open from Monday the 5th of April. Now, however, there are restrictions that only 1 customer per 25 square metres and up to a maximum of 20 customers are allowed into shops in total. Now, this is the other craziness of this. Purchases are restricted to 2 methods. One is outside the store by an appointment, basically click and collect. So in other words, you order something online, you go to you send a message that you want to collect it. You then go down at the time that's given, and then that you then pay for it in a card, and then you take it away. So you don't actually physically go inside the shop. Now, the other way that you can shop as well is to go inside the store by appointment with the shop. If you notice in town at the moment, there are phone numbers in windows. So I think you can give them a call and then say, can I come round to the shop? And then they'll say, yeah, come round in 5-10 minutes. And then you'll be allowed to go into the shop. So in some ways, this is not really an easing of restrictions, to be quite honest. And there has been talk that there may also be a 3-hour time limit as well placed upon you if you want to go and actually do any shopping in a retail shop other than a supermarket. But anyway, there's still more information on that to come, clarifications on that. Don't forget, this is not going to happen until the 5th of April. It was also announced that there's going to be easing of restrictions at the weekend. So from Saturday, but this is only at the weekend, when you're on SMS code 6, you will be allowed to travel by vehicle for personal exercise. So if you remember now, at the moment, we're not allowed to go anywhere further than around the direct immediate area of our homes if we want to exercise, unless we go on a bike or if we walk. But now it seems they're going to relax that slightly, where you are now allowed to take a car, so you could technically drive down to the beach and go for a walk along the beach. And what's more, you're allowed to have up to 3 people in your car, or obviously your family. So you can bring Yaya with you now, or granddad, and go out for a walk on the beach, mum and dad and somebody else. And obviously the kids are allowed as well. Now, interestingly, the only people that were driving round in 3 people in a car, and this was a little thing to look out for, the police doing their checks on people driving in plainclothes cars. Normally there'd be 3 adult males in the car, all right, and you could guarantee it'd be a police car coming to check you, all right. So again, it seems now you can't rely on that now, because at the weekends 3 people in a car could be a family out and about, all right. So just bear that in mind. Anyway, another interesting story that has come up as well. Last Monday on Rhodes and Heraklion, and also in Chania, Crete, all right, these areas are actually now receiving their first tourists. Now, this might sound like this could be an April Fool wind-up, but I don't think it is. In fact, it's the in the case of Chania, 15 people of a total of 57 passengers from the first flight from Berlin were contestants taking part in a reality TV show. Anyway, this reality show at the moment is being filmed in the area of Apograsina, I think that's pronounced, in the Chania area of Crete. And these passengers from these first flights have had to have a negative test certificate for COVID 72 hours before their trip. And then on arriving in Greece, they will stay in a Pacific accommodation for the next 7 days and do a mandatory quarantine. Anyway, the large hotel units in Rhodes and Crete have given this the possibility of complete isolation, and they have a number of infrastructures and services within the hotel. Now, you might remember that there was a story going around that people coming from Holland were going to be taking part in this big experiment to test the safety of hotels against COVID infection while away on holiday. And it seems that the news of the arrival of the first tourists to Rhodes for this was announced with great interest. And also as well, we're looking here in Zakynthos as to are we going to be seeing the first arrivals here of people coming to Zakynthos Airport? Well, one sure thing that happens is that until 2019, our island was at the end of March, we would see people, and the first easy jets from the UK would normally be arriving. And as for Zakynthos is concerned, the first flights have been planned by the Netherlands, and they're looking now at the end of April when the first flights from the Netherlands will start to arrive here in Zakynthos. So again, things are looking a little bit positive on that case as well. Anyway, a representative of the Zakynthos newspaper actually has speaking to people from the airport, and they said that, believe it or not, the slots have been closed. Actually, the flight slots are closed. As to when the first flights will actually arrive, that is still yet to be seen. So it looks like the Dutch are actually going to be coming, but at the moment they've earmarked their slots that they want, and maybe the Dutch will arrive at the end of April. So we will see how things work out and see how the situation seems to go. But however, there is an optimistic scenario from travel agents here on the island, or tourist agents is the best way to describe them. They're the people that oversee brands coming of holiday companies who come over, because again, if you want to run a holiday business in Greece, you must have an agent here. Anyway, they're most optimistic by the scenario that the first flights may arrive by mid-May. However, many tourist agents made it clear they do not expect tourists before June on our island. So again, the conundrums sometimes of what's going on. All I know is this, is that if we are definitely going to be seeing people arriving, especially from the Netherlands in the beginning of May, then obviously where I work, we will probably be open because we are surrounded by a lot of Dutch hotels. We're still waiting to see what's going to happen with the UK, whether Boris's May the 17th is going to happen or not. But I must admit, listening to some of the talk radio this morning, there's a lot of rumblings going on that even the government, the British government, has not made its mind up how safe they want their country to be at the moment. Infection rates have dropped off considerably, and they're not saying what their goals are in the terms of what figure they want to put on to how safe is now safe, despite the fact that numbers are dropping, vaccination rates are up, and that things in the UK are looking slowly at getting back to normal. But again, it hinges on them as to how we see ourselves being able to get on here. Anyway, just going to scroll through this. Okay, let's go back to the cinema. Yes, the cinema at the moment here in Zakynthos is still lots going on there. A series of issues related to the operation of the municipal cinema are coming to light over the controversy that has been caused recently concerning the concessions cafe in the cinema in Solomon Square. The mayor has issued another statement, which is Mr. Ariagis made it known that a concession of 228 square metres of Solomon Square does not serve the customers of the cinema, but the business interests of the company. Anyway, a total rent to the municipality for 10 years of the lease, with an average rent of about €3,000 each year, and a few thousand euros for utility bills, are far behind the €64,000 that was paid by the municipality in 2015 for the purchase of a digital projector that the cinema actually uses at the moment. He said, in other words, the municipality rented the cinema and the tenant turned it into a cafeteria, serving thousands of customers every summer. And the owner, the municipality, paid out €64,000 in advance so that the company could operate it. Now, the mayor stated that he would call on the competent involved services, that is the town planning and also the store licensing people and services, to respond in writing to the permits that were issued and then send documents to the judicially investigating the matter. So at the moment, the spat with the mayor and also with Stigma, the company that run the cinema, is not over at the moment. It seems like he's ramped it up a gear. I really do want the cinema to survive. And at the moment, he's putting his side of the case, which is basically the municipality had paid out for the purchase of a new projector. They are not paying, shall we say, a credible rent for the cinema. They are obviously topping up their money that they're making by running an outdoor seated area of 280 square meters, doing snacks and coffees and stuff like that. And that was obviously taking in quite a bit of money. But I also think you have to look at it does actually offset the cost of being able to go to the cinema. Most cinema complexes these days survive basically on the fact that their concessions substantiate the running costs of the business. But according to the mayor, from his figures, their running costs have been negligible, and basically they've just been making lots of profit over these last 10 years at the expense of the municipality. So I'm not going to say anything more on that, because at the moment that's going to the judiciary, and I don't want to be accused of muddying the waters from my balcony here. But I do hope that some agreement can be met between the municipality and also between Stigma over the operation of the cinema, because trust me, it's one of those things, especially in the winter. We've not been able to enjoy it this season simply because of what's gone on with COVID, that we just do not want to lose it. All right. We want to keep that. Great cultural thing going. And also as well, Stigma also runs the one on the beach as well. So they split shows between the beach and between the Foskalos cinema, and I would hate to see either of those disappear. It just means a couple of venues able to show films on the beach or in the cinema, which I think is fantastic. And they normally switch the films around, so if you want to watch it indoors or watch it outdoors, that's up to you in the summer, and it's a great thing to be able to enjoy. Anyway, also reference a 43-year-old Greek national was arrested in Varres by Zakynthos police. The man that they arrested had a conviction for drug offences, and he had also been sentenced to 2.5 years in prison. Anyway, the man was arrested and he was found in possession of a fake ID, and he was also in possession of a gun for which he had no permits for. Meanwhile, a 15-month prison sentence was given to a foreigner who was arrested midday on Sunday for drug trafficking. According to official announcement from the police, after information on drug trafficking on the island was given, a foreigner was targeted and then arrested after a police operation. Also, this was carried out in the presence of a judicial officer. This is the way that the Greeks do raids in Greece. They also have somebody from the courts who is present at the time the police do their raid. And the man was caught in possession with 310.8 grams. 2 mobile phones were seized as well. So that man has now been sentenced to 15 months in jail. And again, the 43-year-old with a gun and that, I think things are still yet to come from that area as well. Also as well, another story going back to COVID, which does sound to me like, is this an April Fool or is this for real? Anyway, on Wednesday, the Russia's agricultural regulator said it has registered the world's first vaccine for animals against COVID-19 after tests showed it could generate antibodies against the virus in dogs, cats, foxes and mink. Anyway, mass production of the vaccine called Carnivac Cove, I think is how they pronounce that, Carnivac Cove or Caravac Cove, will start in April. Anyway, the World Health Organization has expressed concern over the transmission of the virus between humans and animals. Anyway, the Russian regulator said the vaccine would be able to protect vulnerable species and thwart viral mutations. Russia has so far only registered 2 cases of COVID-19 among animals, and both of that was in cats. So I'll be watching out for the cat man coming from Russia. Anyway, Denmark has culled 17 million mink on its farms in the last year after concluding that a strain of the virus had passed from humans to mink, and it had then that mutated strains of the virus had then turned up among people. Anyway, especially those who wear fur coats. Anyway, Russian fur farms had planned to buy the vaccine along with businesses in Greece, Poland and Austria. Russia's fur farm industry accounts for around about 3% of the global market, which is down from 30 in the Soviet era, according to its main trade body. Anyway, Alexander Ginsburg, the head of the institute that developed the Russia's Sputnik 5 human vaccine, was quoted in the Vesta newspaper on Monday as saying COVID-19 was likely to hit animals next. Ginsburg said the next stage of the epidemic is the infections with the coronavirus of farm and domestic animals. Some scientists say that cats and dogs do not play a major role in transmitting the coronavirus to humans, and that their own symptoms are often mild if they are contracted through COVID-19. Anyway, clinical trials of the Russian animal vaccine began in October last year and involved dogs, cats, Arctic foxes, mink, foxes and other animals. Anyway, Konstantin Savko, the head of the Roskoskandu said in a statement that the result of the trials allows us to conclude that the vaccine is safe and highly immunogenic, as all vaccinated animals develop antibodies to the coronavirus. The watchdog said that animals had continued to show an immune response for at least 6 months since the trials began in October. It said it would continue to study the vaccine's effects on the animals. Anyway, Rosalind Kanderdorf did not say whether it had tested for COVID-19 in animals who had developed antibodies after being vaccinated. The use of the vaccine, according to Russian researchers, can prevent the development of viral mutations, which most often occur during interspecies transmissions of the agent. Anyway, Russia already has 3 coronavirus vaccines for humans, the best known of which is the COVID-5 Moscow, which has been given emergency approval to others. I know we are supposedly looking at getting bits of it here, and also they've got the Epivac Corona and the Covic-Vac as well. That's another 2 Russian ones as well. Right, I don't have any finally stories for you. Let's have a quick look to see who's tuning in at the moment. I see a few names that I recognise. Let's have a look. Shane Brown is watching, so nice to see you, Shane. Paddy Brolly, I've already said. Amanda Gregory says, good morning, Ginge. Happy birthday to my husband, Alan, today. Lovely and sunny today. Some cloud, but no rain. A high of 18 degrees. Feels like back to 23. Enjoy the day. And yes, happy birthday to Alan. I did play you a tune for your birthday on the day that you were born. I did notice yesterday that my online show, for some strange reason, didn't go up online automatically, so I will upload yesterday's requests and inspiration show once I finish doing this broadcast. I'm going to upload that, and then obviously you can enjoy the show from yesterday afternoon, and it keeps the continuity for me on Mixcloud as well. Anyway, Alfling is watching as well. Maria Hallberg is watching. Steve Hinkling is watching. Marie Hallberg from Sweden. Steve Hinkling from Stoke-on-Trent, where he said yesterday the weather was absolutely glorious. Anyway, Heather Nash says, morning to you and Lady Jane. Weather looks beautiful. It's totally different here. It's windy and dull. I thought you had lovely weather yesterday in Birmingham. Steve Hinkling says, Calomina, hope you have a good month. I hope we have a good month as well, and this lockdown starts to get closed up. Anyway, Amanda Gregory is tuning in as well. Lovely to have you looking in as well. Andy Joyce is tuning in, old buddy from Ireland Radio Days. Nice to see you tuning in. I know that he's doing a lot of good wishes with Ian Thompson, the ex-DJ here from Zakynthos, who lost his leg and then caught coronavirus while in hospital. Don't forget, this weekend there's a special online broadcast for him. Lots of big-name DJs from the UK trying to raise money to help his GoFundMe page, and you can catch that on the Coventry Telegraph stream. All right, go on there and that will give you more information. I'll probably put a link up for that as well. Anyway, nice to have you tuning in, Andy, as well. It's been a while, and great to see you're doing well as well. Aaron Vardy is also watching as well. Nice to see you, buddy. Tim Crystal from Oxford is in. Nice to see you, fella. Marie says, good morning, Galamera. Have a lovely weekend. Thank you. Yeah, we're not far off the weekend now. It is Thursday. I can't believe how fast this week is going. Lyndon is also watching from Wales. Shane Bowen says, Galimera, Ginge, and Galamina. A few days of fresh start, overcast over Exmoor at the moment, but highs of 20 degrees. Good health to you all. So the weather seems to be on the change a little bit in the UK from the sounds of it. There's a little conversation going on between Lyndon and Tim. Bob Cave is tuning in as well. Nice to have you tuning in. Chris Jones is also tuning in. Alice in the lovely village of Minster is also tuning in. Nice to see you. Give my regards to your dad, ex-Raffridge buddy. I hope he's doing all right, big fella. Mark Towley is also there. How is the island of Cos getting on, pal? Do you know what? I haven't got a clue how the island of Cos is getting on, but I'll have a look, all right? I'll see if I might drop them in to some of my broadcasts from time to time. Bob Cave is also tuning in. He's talking to Tim Crystal because they're all from the Oxford area, that's why. Lyndon says, I'm okay, 12 days and counting for my operation. Oh, best of luck with that. Mary McMillan is watching as well. She's from the Milton Keynes area, if I remember rightly. Nice to have you tuning in. Used to work with my son as well. Tony Roberts is also watching as well. Also, Raina Pete Dillon is watching as well. Thank you for there. They're having a right old conversation about operations here at the moment. Lisa Jean Baker is watching. Raina and Pete Dillon say, morning, Ginge. Bob Monroe is watching. Catherine Ling is watching as well. Mary McMillan is watching as well. She's replying to Heather. Tim says, sorry to... Oh, well, there's medical stuff being talked here. I'll leave that. Susie Angus is also tuning in. Nice to have you here, my lovely. Also, Chippy Woods is tuning in as well. Oh, yes, a report from Margate. Good morning, Ginge. I went down to Margate Beach yesterday and was surprised there was not as many people on the beach. Even along the seafront, there were not many people at all. So all in all, it was fairly quiet. Fairly quiet. I can't see it getting too busy as we have got a weather change over the Easter weekend, but you'll keep me informed. Cheers for that, my lovely. And another little job for you. If you're walking around, again, I don't want to put you out of your way, but if you're walking around Margate, go and see if the Fez Micro Bar is still open. If you don't know where that is, it's basically as you walk up from the beach, going up towards the top end where the shopping centre is. It's a little unit just near the Boys Hotel. That's the best way to describe it. By the Boys Hotel. I'm just curious to know if the Fez Bar is still surviving. Fantastic little bar. If you ever get to Margate, go check out the Fez. It's a beautiful little bar. And I'm hoping that the boys there are surviving. I know they used to do ukulele on a Tuesday night. All these people would turn up with ukuleles and they'd be playing things like Oasis and the Rolling Stones on a ukulele. It was a sound to behold. There you go. So I'm curious to know if they're still in business at the moment, because the last time I seen them, things were not good. All right, and that was in October last year. I mean, flying visit to see me mum in Cliftonville. Anyway, Rebecca Hughes is watching. Larry Smith is watching. Doppia John says, hello and happy Easter to all aficionados of the show. Thank you for that, Doppia. I do appreciate it. Yeah, it's weird. You've got your Easter coming up this weekend. Our Easter is not for another month yet. Our Easter is in May. One of them strange years where the calendars sort of go out of joint with each other. And that's the reason why our Easter is normally after the, shall we say, the Catholic Easter. And Orthodox Easter is a couple of weeks ahead, but this year it's nearly a month ahead, and it also is in when the season would technically have started. So again, we'll see how it goes for our Easter and whether we're out of lockdown by then and whether tourists that are said are going to start arriving in April will actually come. Anyway, I'm just having a little flick through. Rob Davis, nice to see you. He says, you got the love of the cockerel trying to outdo you, Ginge. Thank you very much, Shane. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to have to disappear away. I don't want this broadcast to go on and on and on. I will keep my ear close to the ground. Thank you to all those people. There's so many people in the chat room this morning. It's unbelievable. Thank you very much for your support. I will keep my ear close to the ground, see what's going on. Just to remind you, don't forget tomorrow is a busy day for me tomorrow broadcasting. I've got my Request and Inspiration show tomorrow. So if you want any requests or any dedications for the Easter bank holiday that's about to kick off, then come and say hello and drop them down and I will give you a big shout out. And then straight after that broadcast live from here in Greece, I will then have another broadcast kicking off on beachradio.co.uk, and that's my Dance Anthems show, which has got a bit of an Easter theme to it in a way, and that will kick off at 5 o'clock your time in Greece until in UK until 7 o'clock. 2 hours of dance anthems on beachradio.co.uk, and then on Easter Sunday it's my Northern Soul show. The old Soul Cream van is out and about, going from coast to coast, bringing you the best in Northern Soul, again on Beats Radio, 5 o'clock UK time till 7 o'clock there. Right, that's it from me for today. I can't believe it's Calomina time. Got little jobs to do, things to sort out. I'll keep my ear close to the ground. I'll let you know how things go. And have a good day, all right? Catch you later. Ta-ra.